Guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I'm back with another reaction. Yes, Cloak and Dagger is back, season 2, baby. Yes, I really enjoyed this show last season. It was a welcome surprise, and yeah, I mean, I raved all about it last season. I loved the characters. I loved how the show did a really great job of incorporating real world issues, social issues, family dynamics, all that good stuff, with of course the little flip of little insert of the Marvel universe and the craziness that comes along with things like mutation and all that good stuff. And we had a lot happen last season. Super quick recap because way too much happened for me to go through all of it. We had the introduction, of course, of Tyrone and Tandy. Apparently from their comic book counterparts, there was a little bit of a switch as far as their backgrounds, because in the comics, Tandy was the person who came from a well-to-do middle-class family, and Tyrone was someone who came from a much harder, more difficult background. Whereas in the show, they kind of flipped things around. Tyrone was the one who had moved into an upper middle-class family, had everything going for him, as it were, and Tandy was the one who started that way, but actually descended into a place where they were not doing very well. They were poor. Her mom was a substance abuser, and she was basically struggling to get by. And we got to know these two characters a little bit more as far as beyond their circumstances, what they were dealing with. And I think that was something that the show did so well, is the character development of Tyrone and Tandy. We got to see what drove and motivated them both. We got to see more into their lives and what kind of shaped them to who they are now. And then of course we had their powers introduced, but we really haven't gotten too deep into what those powers can do or the breadth and the depth of them yet. And that's okay, because I feel like season 1 wasn't the place to do that. It really was to set the stage so we know what Tyrone and Tandy are kind of about, what we know what their morals are, the relationship to each other, which built very slowly throughout season 1. And then of course, that's going to be something I think that's going to be more of a focal point going forward. Their storylines were very separate, even though they were parallel last season. I expect this season to see more of that converging together, because now they're kind of on this path. Now they realize that they kind of have their powers are a yin and yang of each other. And after the finale last season, where they finally let their powers combine, a la Captain Planet, they now know that they can indeed be in contact with each other and not die. But more importantly, I think that that's what was the wake-up call for both of them, that they are in fact tied to each other, whether they like it or not. So the finale had a few pretty crazy things happen that I expect to see also addressed this season. One was, of course, the death of the corrupt police officer. I can't remember his last name. I think it was Connors or something like that. He was absorbed into the cloak, and I mean, we can assume that he's dead at this point, I suppose, but more importantly, the real world, the rest of the world, I should say, has no idea what happened to him, and him disappearing the same time that Tyrone did is not going to look good for him. And then, of course, we saw that the girl cop, whose name eludes me once again, sorry, she was shot, and then I shouldn't even be quoting that. She was shot, and then she fell into the water right as more of the substance that changed Tandy and Tyrone was being released, and we saw her rising from the seaweed covered depths, and she looked like she was moving with enhanced speed, and she certainly did not look all right. So very excited to get into this season. I know that was a lot, but that was the quickest recap I think I could do of what was a very dense and amazing season. I've got some great expectations for this one, although I am tempering them because season 2 of a lot of shows is where things sometimes get a little shaky for some shows. I'm really just hoping that they remember what worked really well in season 1 and they continue doing that and improving on it in season 2. So without further ado, let's get into the first episode, which is called Restless Energy. So let's get into this video and then we will chat about it after, okay? Boop. Oh, Tandy's going back to class. Look at her growing and showing.
First position?
She stole all that money and she didn't buy herself new shoes.
And if you're new to this class, keep it small and in control. You don't get points for distance. Again.
Woo, this TJ not having it with Tandy. Where the money at? I put it right here. Oh, they're both carrying bags. I love how the show always does this with them. Shows them kind of walking the same path, only slightly differently. Still one of my favorite things.
Everyone here is free to get whatever they need out of this.
What you thinking, Tandy? Stay out this girl's business. Okay, crazy, what's up? So glad you're back and armed. Oh, she's pill popping. Okay, I'm confused. Does she know what she can do or not?
What the hell?
Whoa. Sorry.
Wow. Wow, Tyrone, you just appear people who have guns like that? Okay.
Don't ever do that to me again.
Right?
You just embarrassed the Uptown Block Kings, which stands to make them more paranoid and dangerous. And absent a real culprit, they're gonna head north of Frenchman to their rivals, the Money Hustle Gang. These guys are badder, bigger, far more dangerous. And you just handed them dominance.
Yeah. Bless your heart, Tyrone, but you don't really understand this whole criminal underworld thing. Your heart's in the right place, but you gotta think 3 steps ahead, baby.
Did you get the syllabus from AP Physics?
Oh yeah, and almost all the textbooks on it. Check it
Oh,
out.
look at him still staying in school. That's right, boo-boo.
A new one.
They can never take your knowledge away from you. I feel like a projector's a little bit conspicuous, considering it's supposed to be an abandoned church, but maybe it's just me.
Risking your life moment to moment. Saving the world.
Not particularly. It's kind of life of a black man on a day-to-day basis.
But I make knives of light. I mean, what would I even do?
Vegas. I can see it now. You throw daggers at the audience and make them disappear right before they kill them. Are you stalking your own house, Ty? Oh, that's so sad. Tandy, leave her alone. She is not ready to leave this idiot, so don't do it. Tandy, leave him alone. Leave him alone. He gonna get his. Thank you. Oh, God, I spoke too soon. Oh, Tandy, no, turn around and go right back out where you came from. These guys seem way more organized than the other gang did, I gotta say it. Like, these guys got a counter. You got a guy sitting in a room counting with his thumbs, and these guys got an actual money counting machine. Yeah, exactly. What was that? Who is that?
Note to self.
Oh yeah, she can sense he's in trouble.
What the hell were you doing there in the first place, Ty?
When you got Tandy talking to you like this, you know things is bad, boy.
So you've been spying on me.
I told you I check up on everybody I care about. You fit square into that category, Tandy.
Aw. Can't yell at him for that. It is stalking, but it's for the good cause. Okay, you know, just because she's a cop doesn't mean it doesn't look bad for her to have a bunch of drugs and money in her house, Tyrone. Oh, Tyrone, your heart's in the right place, but your head ain't.
And it reminded me how vulnerable he can be.
Look at that big old backfire, Tandy. This is why you don't get involved when you don't know the situation.
Saw it was brutal, really scary. I mean, what kind of a person does that?
Well, since you asked, Tandy's like, I'm gonna beat both your asses now. The man just finished telling you he ain't got a lot of clothes.
Yeah, you're literally. Well, that's why you have me.
I'm glad I do have you.
Oh, they're cute when they're nice to each
I
other.
like this.
Waffles.
Okay then.
Look at them touching and nothing exploding. It's so cute. The growth. Okay, yes, the white and black. I see what you doing, the yin and the yang.
Walk past a whole group of people waiting.
Yeah, lines are for losers. Are you a loser, Tyrone Johnson?
I mean, I've waited in like a bunch of lines.
Okay, where'd you say that sit down was?
Back kitchen.
Over there. So lay out the plan for me.
Alright, so O'Reilly said our end game is getting confessions from the higher ups. So the bosses are meeting in there. I just gotta get this recorder in a moment before they talk. Look, I'm gonna get a little closer.
Okay, I got your back.
I know.
Wait until I flash the signal, okay?
Subtle. Woo, just like that, he fades into night. I'm so proud of him. He's getting so good. What if you don't pull them long legs in? Okay, seriously, how long does it take to tape something to the bottom of a table? Press and go, press and go.
No, I don't drink.
That's okay.
That's probably a good idea
For both of us.
with the whole teleporting thing. Actually, for her too, though, because, you know, you can throw, you know, murdering daggers. Yeah, both y'all should stay sober for life. Okay, look at Tyrone getting hit up. Sir.
Maybe you did make the world a better place.
Yeah, maybe.
Plus that poor kid, he is so uptight. He's gonna have an ulcer before he's 20.
Tandy.
Woo!
Shit.
Things went sideways. It was the police officer, wasn't it? She snapped. She killed all the mofos. Evidence, get out, get out, get out now, get out now, get out now, get out now. Grab your tape recorder with your fingerprints on it and get out. Of course it ends there. Of course. Oh, show, why do you do this to me? What is it with cliffhangers in my shows this week? Okay, so, y'all, that was the very first episode of season 2, the premiere of Cloak and Dagger, which was called Restless Energy. And yes, there was a lot of restless folks in this episode, and it's not a good sign, folks. I think it's a great title that they chose using that word restless, because for those who don't know, I mean, I know a lot of us know what restless means, but restlessness, the actual, that emotion, that place, that state is actually very usually associated with anxiety or stress. So it's not a good thing. It's not something where, I mean, if you're nervous, it happens as well. But if you have restlessness over an extended period of time, it is typically indicative of issues with stress and anxiety and things that you're repressing. And the restlessness is your body's way of being like, we're going crazy up here and you're not doing anything to alleviate it. So we're just trying to do something to get you to deal with this. And so I love, again, that we saw both Tandy and Tyrone. One thing I've always loved about this show is the way they do this parallel storytelling, showing them both on separate roads, but really still walking the same path. And they did a great job of it again in this episode. We got to see a lot of what Tyrone's going through versus Tandy. And even though they are different situations and factors, the actual road and the challenges are very, very similar. And like I said, I love that. And of course, we got a little drop of Officers at O'Neill, I think they said her name was. I keep forgetting her name. I'll get it by like episode 3. What she's been going through. I mean, we saw her, like I said, crawl up from the depths of the ocean in the finale and just kind of, run at some hyperspeed. And from what we see now, either she doesn't remember that or maybe she's hiding it, but she is popping some medication, which says to me there must be something going on that she's not trying to deal with right now. And I have no doubt that it has something to do with whatever the gas or whatever that thing is that she was exposed to has done to her. But let's start out, I guess, we'll talk about Tyrone first. The dark side. I loved, again, how the show did the juxtaposition of almost all of Tandy's scenes being very well lit and bright, whereas Tyrone's tended to be darker or at nighttime. We have Tyrone, who's been living the life on the lam for, it looks like, at least a couple of months have passed. They said several months, I think. 4 months, I think they said with Officer O'Neill, since everything went down, and he's going stir crazy. It's completely understandable. He's a kid who had a very strict routine in life. He went to school, he had practice, he had Bible study. He was very much engaged in his school activities. Like, this is a kid who even admittedly is a little bit OCD. So he likes structure. He likes having things laid out. And that has not been happening for obvious reasons. He's not able to go to school. He's a wanted person right now. He's still on the charges of murdering Officer O'Neill's boyfriend. But on top of that, with Connor's also missing, Lord knows what people are trying to say about that as well. So he's had to stay in hiding for now. But as you can imagine, he just can't sit there. Even though he's been, Tandy's been stealing his homework for him so he can continue to educate himself. It's not enough. He's really just not dealing with being locked away and not being able to live the life he's used to very well. And it's completely understandable. And it was kind of interesting, that conversation that he had with Tandy when they were both watching the movie. And he's like, yeah, I don't miss any of the craziness and the nearly killing myself and all this kind of thing. Like, no, I'm good, I'm chill. And she's like, yeah, I'm a little bored sometimes, but things are good. Like, both of them trying to cover up the fact that they fed off of the adrenaline of making a difference last season. Like, of course, it was definitely more targeted. Like, Tandy didn't set out to save the world any more than he did, but because she was trying to take down Roxanne and figure out what happened to her father, and Tyrone, of course, was trying to uncover what happened to his brother, they inadvertently kind of stumbled into this superhero line of work, and they like it. The payoff of knowing that they did something good is really what is fueling what they're missing right now. And for Tyrone, I think especially, I think he feels so helpless at the moment as far as the larger situation of being framed and wanted for this crime he didn't commit, that he just feels like he's got to do something to offset this negativity in his life. And so going out and trying to take on, sorry, I have an eyelash in my eye, trying to take on these street gangs, like, it's so frustrating, because on the one hand, I completely expect that. He's 16 years old. He doesn't know. Is it 16? Did they say? Actually, I don't know how old he is. I think he's closer to 17, 18. Anyway, he's a teenager. Teenagers don't have a lot of capacity to look too far ahead. It's just they haven't lived long enough to have the ability to do that. And it's a very short-sighted yet believable thing that he thinks he can just go and pop in and out and steal all these gangs' money and drugs and think that that's going to somehow stop things. But unfortunately, as the officer brought out to him brilliantly later, it's like, you didn't think about the fact that if you do this and there's no one that they can pinpoint or blame for this behavior, that they're going to automatically jump, because, you know, obviously they don't know that there is a kid out there that can teleport in and out of places. So what else are they going to do? They're going to think that it's somebody tangible, like a rival gang. And like she said, you might just have started a gang war now, because they don't know what's going on. And so they're going to blame this gang for it. They're going to start something, then that gang's going to retaliate, and it's just who's going to be the people who suffer. Obviously, the innocent outliers who are going to be in between. So when she told him that, and you saw the look on his face like, oh, okay, yeah, did not think that through, did not think about that. Right, it's understandable. I mean, again, as I said, his heart was in the right place, but his head is not. And that was Tandy all last season, right? With a lot of what she was doing, and even what she was doing now, with this support group that her mother's going to, and what she's going to as well. She thinks she's helping these girls, but really, even though her heart's in the right place, she's not thinking it through. And with this whole girl with the abusive boyfriend, the first thing I thought, you know, this is a very sensitive subject, of course. And again, I just want to start out by saying I've never been in that position, so I don't want to speak like I know what it is to be there, or, you know, that I understand completely what their feelings are. But what I have seen and what I've known of folks who've been through situations like that, it really is up to the person who is going through the abuse, the victim. They have to get to the point where they recognize that they are done with that life, where they recognize that they never want to be in a position to be hurt by their abuser ever again. And no one else can make that decision for them. People will say, well, why would they do that? Why? Well, long story short, if they haven't mentally come to a place where they're done, where they've realized, I deserve better than this, I don't deserve to keep having this happen to me, you can go and threaten and do all you want to that abuser, they're still going to go back, or they're still going to find a way to forgive them. So that's where Tandy was going wrong. Her heart was in the right place. I completely understand that she was trying to punish these men in lieu of the fact that she can't punish her father, this man that she put on a pedestal for so long, only to find out that he was imperfect. And now she's trying to punish all these other guys who have done something like her father. Yet these people, first of all, they're not her dad. And second of all, we don't know that these men and her father have anything in common outside of the fact that they did this one thing. So yeah, seeing Tyrone's story, I guess overall so far, the fact that, you know, that speech he gave to Tandy about how he's just losing his mind, like how he can't be with any of the people that he loves. He can't go out in public even without having to worry about a cop. He can't see the girl that he likes. Like, he's just in this imposed isolation that he has no real choice in as far as keeping the people he wants safe, and that he's going out of his mind. She's the one person he can talk to about it, and yet, like you said, I didn't feel comfortable saying that to you when you lived a life like this for so long. And conversely, Tandy saying that, yeah, like it kind of sucks that you're here, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And I understand where she was coming from, in the sense of, I don't think she was trying to minimize what Tyrone was going through by saying it's not that bad, but also for him to look at, like, when you're in a situation like he's in, you really do have to focus on what you have and not all the things you don't have, because that is part of the reason he's going so crazy. He's focusing on the darkness, which I think with his abilities is something he'll always unfortunately do. He really has quite a bit going for him, in the sense of he does have Tandy. And she is a badass, and she's smart, and she's resourceful, and she's loyal, and she is someone who really genuinely cares about him and is trying to help him. But also, he is able, with his abilities, to be able to check on all the people he cares about. Like, not a lot of people in his position have the ability to literally teleport into some place, peep in on people, and then teleport out like they were never there. He does have a place to stay. He does have a safe place for him to sleep and get food and be taken care of despite his situation. So things could be a lot worse. And then conversely, Tandy trying to retrofit herself into the life that she had taken away from her as a child. At least that's what I'm taking out from this, with her doing the ballet lessons, which she dropped obviously as a child when they couldn't afford it anymore, to this time that she's trying to rebuild this relationship with her mom, which very much should be done. To her, just, I don't know, it just seems like she's very much trying to get back into this life that she thinks she would have had if Roxanne hadn't ruined everything. And we don't know that that's what would have happened, but I think Tandy is starting to realize that, for example, being in her ballet class, she's recognizing that, hey, taking 10 years off from ballet has a real effect on your technique and your abilities. She's got a teacher who, I know they made the teacher seem like she was picking on her, but I honestly think it was just one of those things where I think Tandy in her mind thinks that she's kind of at a level that she isn't, because like I said, she took a really long break from dancing, and while her body might still know some of the moves and stuff, she hasn't done it in a long time, and she's going to have to start all over again in some aspects. And then this relationship with her mom, it's not going to happen overnight. There was a lot of trust issues that developed between the two of them over the years. And even though her mom admitted to the fact that she lied to protect her, it still was a lie. And even if Tandy understands where the motivation comes from, it doesn't change the fact that that foundational trust between them was cracked, and it's going to take time to be rebuilt. And we saw that, like when her mom started to try to talk to her about all the trauma and the damage that she's gone through over the years, Tandy was like, can't take this, gotta go. Right? So she's not quite ready to deal with that yet, even though she needs to. So I think we're going to see a lot of that in this season, of Tandy kind of chasing this dream that she had for so long of what her life should be like, only to realize that maybe that dream doesn't fit anymore, or maybe isn't relevant. So she might discover throughout this season that the perfect life that she thought she wanted isn't exactly the same anymore. And I think one of the biggest things that's going to affect that, of course, is her relationship with Tyrone and this newfound desire to set the world right with these abilities that she's been given. And it was, of course, really nice to see those soft moments that she had with Tyrone. It's so nice to see more of them just communicating this season, because last season was a lot of them kind of butting heads first. And I think now they're actually starting to really recognize this really good friendship and relationship that they can have, and using that as a foundation as to why they're helping each other, and not so much out of a sense of I need to get something out of this relationship, if that makes sense. So I really like seeing that, and I want to see more of that grow. I don't necessarily need them to fall into the romantic side of a relationship at this point. I think they both really need friendship a bit more right now. And I think that as it is in the comics, there's going to be this kind of undeniable connection that him and Tandy are always going to have to maintain in order for them to just exist and function with their abilities. And I don't see that being very open to having a third party involved. And I know that in the comics it's a bit crazy because their relationship is almost unhealthy at times because of this connection they have, but I'm hoping that the show finds a way to make it a healthier relationship for those two. And again, like I said, they don't have to make it romantic right now. I think it's perfectly fine for them to just have a really good, healthy relationship at the moment while they both deal with their other masses of personal issues and trauma. If it does go to that place, which I feel like they will eventually have them go there, because there's definitely some chemistry and some sparks between the two of them, I want it to be a healthy relationship. Yeah, that was a really good episode again. And again, I love that this show is so great with their character dynamic and building. I love the storytelling, as I've already said. They did a great job of reinforcing that again in this episode. And of course, we had the ending with the room full of dead higher-ups of all the gangs. Like, this is serious, guys. Like, this is beyond the fact that this is a room full of dead people, which I really need Tandy and Tyrone to get the hell out of before someone shows up. The other thing that's crazy about that is, if you know anything about how these things go, you can't just cut the heads off these snakes, right? It's gonna cause chaos. It's gonna cause some massive chaos if all these people are dead. They're gonna want to know who did it. People are gonna blame everyone else. Like, this could cause a massive gang war. Whoever did this, whoever went off, which I'm pretty sure it was the police officer, and it's gonna be crazy to watch as we see her devolve into what she's going to be. Like, I can't remember, you guys told me the name of her character, it just slipped out of my head, but yeah, I think that the creation and the build-up of who this character is going to be for her is going to be a lot of fun to watch this season, and even more complicated because she's not going to be a straight-up bad guy. She's going to be that anti-hero, right? She's killing the right people, but in the wrong way, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun to watch her ascend to this place, or descend, whichever way you want to look at it. And then also watch how Tyrone and Tandy are going to deal with this. And to the fact that she also has the energy in her that's the same as Tyrone and Tandy's, it's not gonna be as easy to take this girl out as it was Connor's and the other people they've dealt with so far. So anyways, what did you guys think of the first episode? How are you feeling about season 2 so far? What are you guys looking forward to seeing? Leave your comments below. You know I love reading them and getting involved in that conversation with you. And if you like this video, please click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time,